Hello everybody, my name is Tiffany, I'm the Tipsy Artist. Cheers! Alright, we're going live with this cute little cow today, and I want to make sure that y'all can see. I saw it earlier and now I'm not sure. So maybe somebody can let me know. Because Facebook has so much going on that they block all this where I can't see it. So whoever is out there, give me a thumbs up or send me a little message going, yes, we can see it. Hopefully you can. I know somebody's out there. Hello, hello. All right. So we're doing this little cute Christmas cow, and I was hoping somebody would send me a message. Make sure you guys can see this, so somebody let me know. All right. So I've got my trace all good to go here. I've got my kit supplies all laid out, and let me show you what I have. So our kits come with paint, brushes, basically every single thing that you need. And I've got all the supplies written in the description. And of course, everything's available on our website with just one click. You can get everything that you need for this. And then I've got my traceable already done. I've got mine attached here. So it's super easy. So we give you a lot of word choices, and I went ahead and cut this out and attached it. We have some tape that comes with the kit. And then I've got mine attached here. And then it also comes with transfer paper. So the transfer paper is, let's see, there we go. The transfer paper comes with it. And I want to make sure that the dull gray side faces up and that the shiny side, the shiny darker side faces the canvas. So that's the first thing you want to make sure that you do. And then I just center all the line art in the middle of that, and then I center that on the canvas itself, and then I just secure it with tape. And then I think for me it's a lot easier to go ahead and place this on a flat surface to do all your tracing. And you can start with your colored pencil that we provide. Hello, hello. You can start with your colored pencil. Make sure that you've got one of those. I think it helps a lot. And of course, if you use our kit, it just comes with it. But let me give you a little close-up on this. So you can absolutely see where you've been. Every time you make a line, you'll be able to see the contrast. So that really helps a lot. And then I lift it up. I'm going to go ahead and flip this. So initially you'll get a line that will look all of your line work. Okay, it's early for me this morning, y'all. Okay, so all of your line work will look kind of like a pencil on there. And then what I also provide for y'all is a permanent marker. So I go ahead and take this and I just basically line everything out with the black line. That way you can see it really, really well. The blank is at the very bottom of the screen. Let's see. Okay, thanks for that message. I guess the main thing I want to make sure is I want to make sure you can see the entire image that I'm doing. So I want to, let's maybe just turn it down a little bit. Okay, now, okay. I think that way everybody can see the whole thing. All right, so hopefully that will help. All right. Yay. Okay. Okay, so I've got my permanent marker work all done. And so if you're watching this as a pre-recording, then of course you can just go ahead and pause it and do all of this. So it takes a little bit of some time to go ahead and line it all out. And then I love taking the permanent marker and doing a hard line around all of this. So beginners love that because it bleeds through the paint. Really helps out a lot. You don't lose any of your trace work. So it just gives you a lot more, I think, flexibility and relaxation through the process. So that's the main goal here, is we want to make sure that you are very, very relaxed and that you have a really good time. And that's my saying too, is that there are no mistakes, only possibilities. Yay! Okay, good. Awesome. Yeah, I was hoping that shifting it a little bit would help you see it. So again, there are no mistakes, only possibilities. And then also, sometimes, every painting is divine with a little more wine. So it's a little early for me. I have today's selection is bubbly. So it's sparkling water because it's super early on a Sunday morning. And yeah, it's not even afternoon yet. So, oh gosh, no, it is afternoon. Boy, time flies when you're having fun. Hi, Terry, how are you? Yeah, so But it's not 5 o'clock. But you know, if you're out there and it's 5 o'clock somewhere when you watch this, then hey, this could be something a little bit different for you. But for me, for today, this is just a little bit of some bubbly. So cheers. Yeah, good stuff. All right, it's kind of like, you know, Perrier or whatever. All right, so here we go. We have a great start. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my mixing plate nearby, and I've got my handy little paint kit nearby. Mine's a little bit used, broken into here, well loved. I've got my water nearby, a little bucket of water. Also brushes. So I've got mama brush. Ooh, this is my bad mama brush. Ooh, I have a story about that. Little buddy, and then little bit. So here's a little lesson for you. Speaking of there are no mistakes, only possibilities, I'll tell you the possibility, I'll tell you the lesson and the possibility. So when you are, you know, washing your brushes and sometimes you get distracted, I know I do, and then I left this one in the water, so it's kind of permanently wonky. It's not right. So you're not supposed to do that because, well, it does that. So it can ruin a brush, kind of. Now, as I say, there are no mistakes, only possibilities. So this will become, for me, a great pouncing brush that I can do this with on the canvas. So that's a great technique. But I'm going to put this one off to the side because for today's lesson, I do need a brush that has been a little bit more loved and taken care of. This one I did take good care of. I rinsed it and then I let it dry outside of the bucket, and that is actually the best way to care for your brushes. So yay, it's very exciting. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start to mix up all of my background color first. We have a really beautiful turquoise color that we're going to start with. So to begin with, I'm going to be using some primary cyan blue, and then also some bright yellow green, and then some titanium white. All right, so we need a lot of this to begin with. So initially, I'm going to start with some pretty big dollops on my plate. They'll be about like a quarter size heaping dollop. And then when you pull your paint out of the paint kit, see it's got a little foil. That helps keep it secure, but you will have to, of course, pull that off before you can get paint out of there. All right, so there's that. So, nice heaping dollop of paint. Now let's go in for some of that primary cyan blue. Lots of love there, primary cyan blue. And then I went ahead and did some white earlier just to give myself a head start, make sure I had plenty of white out. And so now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab a nice big dollop that's about the same size as that. So about 3 equal parts here. We've got our bright yellow green, our primary cyan blue, and then our big dollop of white paint. And then let's go ahead and mix all that together, and this should give us a really pretty turquoise color. Yes, that is lovely. Now this is a little bit dark for what I want. I mean, it definitely kind of matches what I have going on back there, but I like to kind of brighten it up as I go. So light and bright. We'll have all this white off to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and start to push this into the background, but as I go, I'm going to go ahead and pick up a lot of just white paint and push that through the surface area. Now something else that you can do, you can certainly play with a little bit of water in the mix to make it more fluid. However, when you do that, and this is a really big deal, you want to make sure that you lay your canvas flat on a surface. So flat on your kitchen table, dining room table. Just make sure that it's completely flat so that you do not get water runs that just go through your image. So that's really important, but you can certainly play with a little bit of the water just to help it. This is really good quality premium paint, so a little bit of water is usually really helpful. All right, now as you can see, I am running right through that lettering, and it will bleed through because it's done with a permanent marker. So that's definitely intentional. Now for the sake of time, I just went ahead and did mine in advance. However, you can certainly do your lettering at the very end. That way you're not having to just wait for it to peek through, and you can just let it all set up and dry and do all of your lettering at the very end as well. So that's certainly an option as well. But just squeaking. Oh my gosh. I swear, I told y'all that I was not drinking, and some of you are not going to believe me. What I meant to say was streaking paint through the surface area. Instead I said, I'm not sure what I said, squeaking? Something. I made up my own little word. It's kind of what I'm doing this morning. So I think maybe the cure might be sleep. Sleep is always a good thing. I have not had a whole lot of sleep. So I think I went to bed really late and then got up really early. And then, well, when you do that, then you start to make up your own alternative language. It's fun stuff. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just push this back and forth through the canvas. Nice, fluid, horizontal stroke. And I'm remembering to place that white through it, keeps it kind of light and bright. Now, what else you can do too, if you get just super, super light and you want a little bit of variety in your background, you can always go back in with some of the dark too. Kind of push that through and just lightly push it across. Now, in order to keep that still visible and looking a little bit different and not completely blended into the surface area, I go ahead and hold that handle more over to the side, and that gives me a much more gentle hand, and it still allows some of those colors to just rest right on top of the surface. All right, now I have to do a little bit of some cut-in work. So I'm holding the brush to where the flat side, kind of pushes into those areas. Again, it's kind of more of like a pencil hold. And then I'll just kind of feather that out into the background. There, that is lovely. All right, now let's go ahead and do a line edge all around here. Cute little hat. And then we will feather this out on the other side. This little cow, she's a cutie. People love her. All right, and again, more feathering out into our background here. And we'll continue this same blue all the way down till the very end. And I'm getting a fun little alert on my phone that says fundraiser at 3 o'clock. So by the way, we are having our very first ever virtual fundraiser. So it's really a cool deal because we do sell our painting kits to nonprofits. And it's wonderful because they're at a discounted price and volume, and then we do a live show, and then the host will sell those kits and make a profit for the fundraiser. And the profit margin is about, initially about $15 per kit, so it's pretty cool. Pretty neat little deal. And it's really great right now with everything going on, since we're all having to paint at home. And I am doing a live today for this particular class so that it's recorded and it's always there. And then that way, when you do sell the kits, then you've always got that class that even if they can't make it at that same day, then they can always come back and paint whenever they want. So pretty nifty. Oh, I'm gonna run into my black. I'm gonna shift my little, well, let's do this. Here we go. Now, as I get in around some of this line work down here at the bottom, it's very intricate and like right in through here. I'm just gonna do a quick little brush through. Okay, that's getting into hats, so I'm not gonna worry about that. But what's nice is because that Sharpie will bleed through, then I won't lose my line work, and then I can come back in and fill in with that next color. And I'll just tidy that up here in just a little bit. But that is why beginners love the permanent marker, because it allows for you to do things like that, where you can kind of do a little bit of a paint through and not have to be so meticulous about watching out for every little tiny line, because that cut-in work can really kind of get you. So we have a little white tucked there, so I'm going to try to be careful in that area, because white is definitely a lot lighter. So I want to try to preserve that. But I know down here these are all going to be much darker colors that will easily cover over the top, so I can just be a little bit more relaxed with it and just kind of do a paint through. I'll go ahead and come around my little beautiful cow face here. And then we're going to paint through this. And here. I think I need to make an adjustment, so hold on a second. I've got a little, it's kind of shifting on me. Hold this steady, and let's just sweep this through. So just back and forth, horizontal strokes here. I'm painting my hair today. It's wonderful. I'm splattering a lot. All right, and again, just back and forth. And a little bit more white. Okay, so looking good. We have all of our beautiful background done. I love it. All right, I am rinsing out my beautiful mama brush. Okay, round and round and round, firm pressure. This will help release that paint. And then I'm gonna go ahead and wipe it off. All right, so she is good to go. Okay, next color will be our beautiful red. We're gonna go ahead and do red next. So I need to make a cool red. And with our kit, we have, let's see here, I'm gonna get it, some cadmium red. And then we also have some primary magenta. So basically what I'm going to do is mix 2 equal parts, the cadmium red and the magenta, about half and half. I'll give you a visual. But it's basically like quarter size heaping dollar amount. Okay. All right, so we are loaded up. Got 2 equal parts, cadmium red and primary magenta. I'm gonna go ahead and mix these 2 together. This will just basically give me a cool red. Because to begin with, cadmium's pretty warm, and so I'm just cooling it off with the cooler tones of that magenta, that primary magenta color. So this is, to me, a much prettier red that I want for my Santa hat here. So I'm going to go ahead and take my mama brush and just go ahead and apply this into the surface area. Now initially, I'm just trying to get coverage into the line, so I'll hold it more like a pencil to go ahead and work into those areas. But you'll notice, especially with red paint, it always has a tendency to be transparent. So when you do hold the brush like this with that handle coming towards the body, then it gives you a heavier hand, and you'll see a lot more brush strokes, and the paint becomes very translucent. So in order to get really good coverage over the surface area, you want to go ahead and take your handle, hold it more over to the side, and then that will give you really good coverage over the surface. Very helpful. So sometimes you do have to turn it because it's like a little area in there, but then I just always try to come back in and lightly feather that out, which gives that gentle hand and a darker coat of paint that just rests on top. So I've got my red coming up through here. It's gonna be super cute. All right, so now I'm doing the feathering out, making sure that my coverage is good and that I'm minimizing any really visible brush strokes that come through that paint. So really light, gentle hand as much as I can, just very gently kind of place the brush on the side and kind of feather out those strokes. And I've got a red little rose here, so I'm going to go ahead and position that on top. And the blue undercoat here too really helps a lot, works as a great base underneath red as well. So that actually was a help there. And then I still have some little red berries to do, so I'm going to go ahead and come in and do that. So there's a little bit of white still peeking through there. All right, now we're good. Okay. So I need a smaller brush now to do the smaller areas of red. Forgot to cap off my paint. It's very important. With these little tubes, you definitely want to do that or they'll dry right up. So, very important. Acrylic paint does set up and dry quickly. All right, now I am using my little bit brush. Let's push that into that red paint. And then I'm just going to swirl this in a circle. It's going to feel like making little Cheerios to begin with. And then just keep spinning the brush round and round and round. I've got more down here. So it is a beautiful thing. You can see how it really helps. The red is so easily darker and richer with that blue base underneath. And by the way, that's just a fun little trick too. If you're painting, like even in your home, I painted my kitchen cabinets one time with, it's a beautiful color called Ralph Lauren Dressage Red. But initially I did not get it was a really kind of a very painful, expensive lesson. So I didn't prime the cabinets at all. And everything looked, well, streaky, transparent, hot pink, nightmare. Just a big waste of paint. So then I went to the paint store and he said, yes, you have to prime it and it has to be a dark charcoal gray primer. So the color, they actually had to tint the primer and make it dark charcoal gray. So everything had to be dark charcoal gray and then you put the red over that and then it went on beautifully. But again, you can see how it even helps here. Did I miss a little berry? I think I did. I see it. I will get it. There's one more little berry right in here. All right, I think that's it. Very, okay, we're good. All right. So, we're making so much progress. This is wonderful. All right, next up, our color will be a beautiful green. So with your paint kit, you have a Viridian, and then you have a cadmium, and then you also, of course, have that bright yellow green to begin with. Okay, so a couple different options. I'm going to let you choose. You can keep it like a very classic green, almost like what you see here in the background, with just the cadmium. And then I just add a touch of the bright yellow green with that. And this will just look like a very nice, straightforward, classic green. And I'm going to give you a visual of what this looks like here on the canvas. And then I'm going to add some viridian. Some viridian will look a little bit more like a pine. There'll be like a hint of pine with it, so it'll be really pretty. But again, this is just kind of a classic green. So I've got my little buddy brush. This is a 1/4 inch flat Taklon, golden Taklon brush. Now let's feather that into the center. Because we're trying to get the good coverage now. Now, by the way, the other reason why I definitely added a little bit of that bright yellow green to the cadmium green is the cadmium green on its own can be very translucent as well. So it really helps to have that little bit of light brought to it, and it helps it cover better. All right, so that gives you an idea of what it looks like in that stage. Now, just for fun, let's add some of that viridian to it. And so again, this is just, you can see when you see it in a pure state, like already how it's going to have more of like a fun pine color to it. So it's up to you, but it's definitely deeper, darker, it's a richer quality to it. So I don't know, you can kind of decide and see which one you like. And then let's feather that in. So I guess it really just depends on what you have in your house at this point. Now I'm going to add in some of those lights. Feather that out. All right, so I need to reload a little bit. I am almost out of my cadmium green. And then get a little bit more of that bright yellow green. So we have a lot more of these little guys to go here at the bottom. Now it's going to be interesting to see how much easier this will be with that base. I bet you it will be a lot easier. Okay, so now let's feather this in. And so I hold it more like a pencil to do the line edge around it. I'm also really careful to definitely avoid that red in the beginning, because my red is still very wet and they will not play well together if they mix. So I'm definitely trying to stay away from that red. And then let's feather it out. I've got one more. That's big anyway, and then now small ones. Okay, so let's let little buddy rest in the water for just a minute. I will definitely fully clean those off here in a minute, but I want my little bit brush now. I'm gonna kind of twirl it into the paint. That will load the belly of the brush, but it also twists it into a nice fine point. And then now I am going to do my tiny little holly leaves here. Wonderful. It's looking so good. Oh, you know what? I bet y'all are all noticing it. You're like, she missed one, she missed one. I'm sure somebody has told me, but I can't see it yet. I got it. This is kind of an interesting angle, by the way, to paint completely off to the side when you can't really, I'm not looking at my, I mean, it's just, it's weird. Like I need to, I'm sure there's a technical solution for what I'm going through, or I should probably be looking at a monitor of what I'm doing, but I'm not, so. I'll get with it though, I promise. I'm learning more and more every day. I'm getting all this. We have all these filming lights now and new equipment. It's a whole new world. Okay, so I got him. He's so good. Okay, so now I want to go ahead and do what else? I think I'm just kind of almost down to the black. Oh my gosh, is that where we're at now? Pretty exciting. Okay, so we're basically down to the black details. Actually, no, not quite. Almost. I'm gonna take my little buddy and do a little bit of some white, just a teeny touch of black. So just barely touch into the black. See how small that is? Get a super light heather gray. Mix that in. This will be for the white here on the hat. Now you could have just left this just pure white if you want. Your canvas is painted and primed white, but a lot of people like to have a more painterly look on all the surface area. I'm gonna have to get a smaller brush here in a second. Like right now. Okay, a little bit to the rescue. All right, we're gonna go ahead and twirl into the paint. All right. Let's paint all this in. You know what, I want a little bit more of that dark charcoal shadow right in there. And then just lightly feather that out. Adding little darker streaks of the charcoal in there. I'm gonna do the same thing. So I'm adding just a teeny tiny bit more black to go ahead and come in and around this little white section. Oh, you know what? That's the ear. Well, I'll fix that. You know, I've been saying my little saying a lot lately. Today. There are no mistakes, only possibilities. Oh my gosh. I am really pushing it today. A little bit more white. little bit more white there. And we'll get that later with the black. Now, that is truly his ear right there, but I'll fix that here in a second. Okay, so, and I don't want to forget to fix it, so I might even just start with that. Let's put green over here. All right, I rinsed out little bits, and now it is dry. And now I'm going to come in with my black. Okay, so it's getting good. So let's fix the ear. It's not part of the hat, it's part of the ear. So that's that little ear coming out, little cow ear, little precious. That's better, honey. I didn't mean to take your hearing away. Way to go, Tipsy. All right, now she's got an ear. We're almost about to call her Van Gogh. All right, so now let's go ahead and do a little bit of some outlining. This will help reinforce everything and make it very obvious as to what everything is. And hopefully I have done a good job painting in the right sections of the right colors with what things truly are. And this is actually a black marking on the face here that will come in. So there's that lovely black outline. And then we'll cut into that holly leaf. See that? Oh my God. I swear. So some of y'all are wondering, what is her deal? Well, part of it is it's really interesting to paint completely on the side of your canvas. That's the first thing. So if you're a beginner, I do not recommend it. You should just face your canvas and paint. That's what most normal people do when you're filming. You have to be on the complete side, so you can't see what you're doing, and then you just sort of run into yourself. So, or do that. All right. Maybe I should drink while I paint. It seems like when I drink, I don't have nearly as many issues. Are you with me? Who's with me on this? Gosh. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna twist into the black again. I'm also trying something new with this. Is like a new easel setup for me. And I think I'm quickly figuring out that I'm not necessarily a fan of my new setup. So normally I have this other easel on a pipe that my husband made for me. And I was thinking that maybe I was gonna try something new, that this might work better, because I've been doing this in my Zoom classes, and as it turns out, I think I need to go back to my other system. So, thanks for bearing with me while I figure all this out. It's been, I'm sure, a little bit entertaining for y'all as I drop everything and just flip paintbrushes everywhere and paint canvas in the wrong place, and super fun. All right, so now we're still painting into the face and the ear, hopefully. Just, as far as I can see from the side, I think that's where I'm at. Yes, I believe this is the ear. Should also be the ear, hopefully. Oh dear God, please let it still be the ear. Okay, there I think is the end of where the hat goes. I'm gonna leave that little section a little bit white. It's kind of like a little accent on the ear. right next to that line, that's a nice line that really helps keep you in place. Gives you a nice boundary above that eye. Where it gets a little bit tricky is underneath the eye, and we'll talk about that because we need to leave a little bit of some white space. And if you forget, you can always kind of like use a little bit of light gray to help soften it so you don't lose your whole eye shape there. But I'm gonna go ahead and just come really close and then up, and then I'll just continue the black from down underneath, but that way it should leave that eye mostly in place. Actually, I'm gonna come back in with a little bit of gray. I think that's gonna be the best thing. Dark charcoal gray here. I'm gonna just lightly feather it out. So twist your brush into the paint, nice fine point. And then actually, now that I think about it, I think I'm gonna like the light. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna like right there. So super light there, but not pure white. So I'm gonna do the same thing here on the other side. There's our dark charcoal gray there. And then I'm gonna wipe it off. We'll go back into the black. And see how it still leaves that eye defined? And then you can just continue putting just pure black all the way around it. And then this one up top, you can just leave that white space, or you can also come into it with more of that really pretty dark charcoal gray, just like we did here at the base. There it is. Now this is that little bit of tuft coming around the hat. So I'll detail that out with just little thin wispies of the black. And we'll keep going because this little black detail comes in all the way around the face. It's just that really pretty black pattern on the face. It's really charming. And we'll make sure and take this all the way around. And see, I had a little bit of blue overlap from earlier, so I'm going to make sure and tidy that up now as well. So all that line work that's provided for you in the traceable, see, that just really helps make this process a lot easier. All right, looking pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna actually blend back into that just a little bit more with some softer white. Rinsed out my little bit brush. We're gonna go into some pure white now. And softly kind of blend back in here. Going a little bit on the side of the brush there. Continue to work that out. Yeah, this is, don't worry, you won't do stuff like this. Because you're going to paint in front of your canvas. So it's just awkward when you paint to the side. That's why I keep running into it. so. Cute, cute. All right, so here we go. We have more black outline work to do. Working at an angle, so I do need to watch out for water runs. So I'm gonna go ahead and twist out that little bit brush, make sure it is just moist, but no excess water in the brush. I do not want water runs. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a little twist back into the black paint. And then let's go ahead and do a little outline here. And this will really help these little holly leaves pop. And then a little curve for the inside. Now, pay attention to another thing too. The good stuff anyway. So not all the goofy stuff I've been doing. But to help stabilize my hand, I rest the weight of my, of my hand on my pinky, and then this really helps keep my hand steady. So if you struggle a little bit with this, just basically like the shakes or something, then this really helps. Just kind of watch where you place that pinky. Make sure you don't stick it in wet paint. But other than that, it is a great tip. Definitely helps. Do a little nice curve in there. And then another little curve. And we still have some black outline work to kind of help make things pop right out in front, like right in between here. It's the tip top of that. But I gotta be careful about where I place my pinky now, because I don't want to put it into the wet black paint that I just did. And then I also need to do around the berries here too. So make sure y'all can see. So I'll make every little berry pop. Getting very close. More little holly leaves here at the base. Now, one other thing that's kind of fun here at the bottom is I have a little rose, and I'll teach you how to paint a rose. But if you don't want to do a rose, that's a really easy place to put even just a round ornament too. So you could almost just leave that round shape as just an ornament if you want, or you can work in a rose. So either way, but if roses are not your thing there, then pretty easy to do an ornament there. brush was getting a little full, so I rinsed out. I'm going to reload now with some really delicate little bits of black here in a moment, but the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and work in the rose first, because I don't want any of that black to blend with it. So I'm going to do a little bit of some white in our little bit brush, and I'm just going to start by making like what looks like little half circles all the way around. And just keep pushing those in like a circular pattern all the way around. And that's the first layer. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find, where's my plate of red that I had earlier? I'm going to come back in with the red and do a little push, like a comma right in the center, and then work this around. Same pattern, little half circles. And you get a nice soft blend in with the white in that circular pattern, and just kind of push and wiggle that around. All right, so that's our cute little rose in there, and you can always come back in with a little bit more white. Let's see, I've got some right over here. Because you can come back in and add just a little bit more of this light accent that'll blend with it. There's just really a repeat of layers of just little like half circles that kind of wiggle a little bit all the way around. All right, quite lovely. And then looking at this, I still need some black on the inside. I'm going to bring in my little buddy brush and just some pure black here. I'm going to leave a little bit of that white just to give me a reference as to where that little trace line is, and then we'll fill in with just a little bit of some light heather gray there to make that accent. And this little tip is mainly for beginners. If you feel confident that you can just paint in the whole thing black and do a little parentheses and parentheses on each side, then I encourage you to do that as well. I'm just going to leave myself a little bit of a reference so that I know where that is. So we're all good. And then let's come back in with our little bit brush and a little twist here into the paint. Rotate it into a nice fine point, twist it between our fingertips. And then I'm going to do what looks like a parentheses. And then another parentheses here on the other side. All right, that's all we need for that little accent there on the nose. And then we have some fun little making the light points, flash points on the berries. So fun little trick here. I take the brush handle here and I go ahead and just dip this into white paint. As you can see on the edge how that looks. And then I go ahead and press straight forward. those fun? I'll do them up here too. And then you can do it in the eyes as well. So if you have all of the eyes blackened in, you can always come back in and make your flash points the same way. So that little dot of white there as well. And now I'm going to come in and do just a few little accents with just pure white here over the top. Just little light sketches. Almost just like a little diagonal sketch here on these little holly berries and holly leaves. I think we are almost done. She's looking like a real cutie pie. And then we just have the lettering to do. So I'll be needing my little bit brush for that. Also, you can do this with your permanent marker as well. I highly recommend this for beginners. So this is all, the main thing you want to watch out for. Make sure your paint is completely dry, or else wet paint will immediately kill a Sharpie. But you can absolutely go over this with the Sharpie here. I'm trying to see it from the side here, but I'm going to go ahead and give you a visual of what it looks like to go ahead and do it with this, and then I'll talk about how you can do it with the paint as well. Okay. So with the paint, and this is how I definitely recommend it for beginners, is to start this way, and you can leave it like this, or you can add in a little bit more dimension with the paint. So you can take your little bit brush and just twirl it into the paint, get a nice fine point, that's really key, and then you can go ahead and just follow along, and just follow your work, basically. But you can already see how you can hardly even tell the difference between the paint and then also the permanent marker. They look almost exactly the same. So honestly, it's not that necessary to come in with paint if you don't want to. But if you do, that's how you do it. Just make sure and keep twirling this out, getting that nice fine point before you approach the canvas, and then just be very delicate, and you just hold the brush just like you'd hold a pencil. All right, so I think we are completely done with our cute little Christmas cow. But we want to thank y'all so much for joining us today. And we have this whole kit on our website at tipsyartist.com. So again, just tipsyartist.com, everything that you need. The kit comes to you, shipped in the mail, and you have everything that you need. We make it super easy and fun for y'all. But thank you again for watching, and I will see you again at 3 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, we have a fundraiser with a super cute snowman that has buffalo check. So we'll be doing that from start to finish. I mean, we're even going to be doing the tracing and everything live. So it'll be a really long class, very fun, but we encourage you to join us for that as well. But y'all have a beautiful day, and we'll see you soon.